Clone Wars is the best thing to happen to Star Wars since Star Wars. Well, at least since Empire Strikes Back. Whether you're a longtime lover of Clone Wars and Star Wars in general, or just a newcomer trying to understand what the hype is actually about, I'm going to break down the top 5 undisputed arcs of the show. Buckle up and let's get started. Number 5, the Mortis arc. And this is probably as weird and as cosmic as Star Wars really gets. And in a series that contains this guy, that's really saying a lot. But to me, the entire point in watching something like Clone Wars is you get these smaller, weirder stories that dive into corners of the galaxy you'd never see in the movies. In this arc, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan are brought to this strange alien planet that's home to 3 Force gods: the Father, the Son, and the Daughter. And basically, the Big Papa God brought them all there to convince Anakin to take over for him as the babysitter of cosmic good and evil, and to put his children in timeout when they're being bad or something. And this shit slaps hard. We get some of the best character moments for our main trio, and it's easily some of the strongest foreshadowing of Anakin's fall to the dark side. The sun literally floods his mind with Vader memories, turning him briefly to the dark. That moment where Anakin sees his future, Vader's breath echoing, him seeing everything he's going to destroy, it's one of the best sequences in the entire show. We see how fragile Anakin can be to succumbing to the dark side, which is honestly something this show does way better than the prequel movies. Anakin's loyalty to his loved ones, and the lengths he will go to for them, outweighs any ethics he holds for the Jedi. This arc also is the first introduction to Sam Witwer, who voices the Son.
Well, perhaps I am tired of waiting!
He later goes on to play Darth Maul in future episodes, and I will say, this man puts his entire soul into each of his fucking roles.
I, Kenobi. Kenobi!
At the end of the day, this is just a really solid side quest for our characters to go on. It doesn't have any major implications on the overall story of Star Wars, or the Clone Wars for that matter, but it does serve as a metaphor for the eventual way Anakin will bring balance, which is the destruction of both sides. Which, yeah, that was a pretty metal thing for a cartoon to do. Number 4, the Darth Maul arc. Now, I'm not a fan of retconning past movies or bringing characters back from the dead, but if I were to ever make an exception, it would be for this motherfucker right here.
You may have forgotten me, but I will never forget you.
You see, the showrunners had a difficult job of making the show without stepping on the toes of Revenge of the Sith. You can't really do that much with Dooku or Grievous, because at the end of the day, they still have to be around for this shit. But you can have Maul survive Phantom Menace and go on a fucking revenge rampage across the galaxy. His scenes with Obi-Wan are electric. The sheer disgust and hatred he has for him is so palpable, you'd think Sam Witwer actually lost his legs.
I will make sure you stay awake long enough to feel every single cut.
Every line drips with venom. You can feel that obsession. I think his arc and true time to shine is when he's plotting and taking over Mandalore. Up to that point, he's been kinda unsuccessful, dabbling with pirates and petty power grabs, but watching him manipulate the Mandalorians and the crime syndicates into giving Death Watch power, that's next level villainy. It's clever, it's ruthless, and it makes Maul feel like a real threat again. And then it all leads to this one battle I never knew I needed, but damn am I glad I got it. Sidious shows up to lay some wood. The second he walks in, Maul's bravado evaporates. That tiny flash of fear says everything about what that apprenticeship must have been like. The fight is insane, it's fast, it's brutal, it's one of the best in the whole series. Overall, this arc gives us a truly menacing villain whose story still feels unpredictable. We don't know where it's going. You get Obi-Wan confronting the man who killed his master, and you see Maul finally rise above being just another failed Sith experiment. I'd take this arc over a lot of other things in Star Wars. It's really good, but somehow there are still 3 arcs in this show alone that beat it. Which brings me to number 3, the Umbara arc. To the people that won't watch this show because it's just a kid's show, watch this shit. This is not Jar Jar and a bunch of Goomba people throwing purple electric paintballs at one another. No, this is a clone battalion clearing out a jungle with a separatist-backed indigenous force and human-eating plants. There's booby traps, bodies flying, it's a fucking nightmare at times. I love it so much. This arc gives the clones their due. It is their time to shine. Anakin gets pulled away in like the first 10 minutes, and from that point on, it is just Rex and the boys trying to get out alive. And also there's Krell.
Recognize the value of honor for a clone. Stand at attention when I address you.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Krell is probably my most hated villain in Star Wars, and it is not because he is poorly written or annoying. I mean, he is exactly the detestable person he is supposed to be, and I fucking despise him. Very similar to how Umbridge is not the main villain in Harry Potter, but she uses her status to torture and manipulate children. Most people hate her more than they do Voldemort, because she's supposed to be on the good side, but is a terrible person. And yeah, Krell is a lot like that. He's technically one of the good guys, but he uses his power and status to get the clones killed and pit them against one another. And it makes him more hateable than Palpatine, Dooku, or whatever the fuck this is. This is one of the best looking arcs in the show. The mixtures of the blues and neon greens on the black backdrop of Umbara is really cool looking. There are a lot of shots that just became synonymous with Clone Wars during this arc. Speaking of clones, this show really goes a long way in fixing them as characters. They are mindless robots in the movies. We don't learn anything about them. But here, they aren't just a plot device meant to move the story. They are people that struggle to find uniqueness in a world where they all look the same, and they struggle to find humanity in a war that doesn't value them. It's top tier writing, and it's one of the biggest reasons to watch the show if you haven't already. Number 2, To Catch a Jedi. The end of Season 5 sees Ahsoka investigating and then getting framed for a bombing at the Jedi Temple. Ahsoka is easily my favorite original Clone Wars character, and this is her best arc in the series. By this point, she's picked up plenty of Anakin's traits, headstrong, impatient, and a little reckless, but also loyal and fiercely independent. She's a Jedi, sure, but she's spent most of her time as a Padawan on the front lines, not just sitting in some council chamber. The movies always talk about the hypocrisy of the Jedi Order, how they've lost their way, but this arc really shows that. The Jedi don't turn on Ahsoka because they're sure she's guilty, they do it because it's politically convenient.
But, if the Council does as you suggest, it could be seen as an act of opposition to the Senate.
Because seriously, why would Ahsoka go back after that? Especially when Mace Windu has the nerve to tell her it was her great trial or something.
This was actually your great trial.
Anakin's great here too. You see how deeply he cares for her, how far he'll go for the people he loves, and you can really feel those early Vader vibes starting to creep in. When he tracks down the real culprit, there's genuine menace in the way he fights and interrogates.
Tell me what happened!
Visually, these episodes look phenomenal. Borderline movie quality, maybe even better than some of the prequels. It has my favorite single shot in the entire series, Ahsoka sprinting from the clones and taking that leap of faith. It's powerful and cinematic, and it perfectly captures who she's become. I wouldn't start with this arc if you're new to Clone Wars, but if you haven't seen it, it's essential viewing. Before my number 1 pick, here are a few arcs that deserve a quick shout out. Lightsaber Loss, a great early Ahsoka episode that really helped shape her character and teach her some humility. The Night Sisters arc, Dark Magic, Revenge, and Ventress going full on witch mode on Count Dooku. What's not to love? The Clone Cadets and Rookies, 2 connected episodes that introduce the main clone squad and show how these soldiers grow from training to the battlefield. And 5's final arc, a must watch to understand how the origins of Order 66 and why the clones turned. Number 1, the final arc. This is 4 episodes of pure Star Wars perfection, the best storytelling in the franchise outside of the original trilogy. From the red title card alone, I was hooked. Seeing the characters now lined up with the same Revenge of the Sith look, the same tension in the air, you just know this is going to be special, and it doesn't disappoint. The story kicks off with Anakin casually committing war crimes, like usual, before reuniting with Ahsoka. She's left the Order, but needs help to free Mandalore from Maul's control. Then the Chancellor gets kidnapped, and we know what that means. The clock is ticking towards Order 66. The first half of this arc follows Ahsoka and Rex leading half of the 501st into Mandalore, and it all builds up to one of the greatest lightsaber battles in Star Wars history. They use motion capture with Ray Park, Maul's original actor, and it shows. Every move, every clash, it just feels so real. This isn't just a great animated duel, it's up there with the best in the entire franchise. And once again, Sam Witwer absolutely kills it as Maul. His performance brings out every ounce of tragedy in the character.
Too late for what? The Republic to fall? It already has, and you just can't see it.
A man who knows the Republic will fall, who's just trying to survive what's coming. His proposal to Ahsoka is hauntingly sincere, one of the best written exchanges in Clone Wars. for a second, almost see her agreeing, but she believes too much in Anakin, and that belief seals their fate. Then comes the back half. 2 episodes of pure adrenaline as Order 66 hits. The tension is unreal. The only real downside, and it's not this show's fault, is that Rebels already spoiled where these characters end up. Screw you, Rebels. One of the best things about Clone Wars is that with its original characters, you never know who's going to make it, and that unpredictability is what gives it real emotional weight. Still, the highlights are incredible. Maul's tearing through an entire battalion of clones using nothing but the Force is just one of the most metal things ever animated. He rips a guy's arm clean through a door, he fights through half the 501st, tearing the ship to pieces and using it for improvised weapons. The creativity and raw intensity of these sequences are next level. But what really makes this arc special are the final moments, the aftermath. For the first time in Star Wars, we feel the heartbreak of the clones. Not just soldiers, but brothers being wiped out. The 501st, a family we've watched fight, joke, and bleed together, gone in an instant. Ahsoka, Rex, even Vader, they all lose something here. It's devastating, it's beautiful, and it's a perfect end to the series. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Bye.